Hey guys, how's it going? This is Dave Sebastian, coordinator of Mentoring Arts Programming with Wayside. We are back together again to do more artwork. Today we're going to work on a collage based on the Jack Kirby character, Mr. Miracle. This is the book we're going to use right here. I feel like I got some flash from my lights on it. How's that? A little bit better? I don't know. Whatever. Best we can do. Anyway, we're going to work on this issue, which is number 12. I think it's from, let's see. I don't know if all you guys know this trick, but if you go over here and check this out, you could find the date that the comic was produced down here and a little bit of its distribution information. So down here it says January to February 1973. I was 2 years old. I am a comic book collector. And I would never destroy a comic that had any kind of collector value. And all of the comics that I use for collages, I find at flea markets in the dollar bin or less. This particular piece right here, I got out in Hollis, New Hampshire at a flea market, and it was 50 cents. This is a Jack Kirby book. This is when Jack was doing, I think, 5 books a month at 30 pages each. So he was drawing 150 pages a month, and he was writing a lot of that. Mr. Miracle is part of the Second World series, with Darkseid and stuff. It's pretty cool. So I happened to find this one, and I thought it would make a cool collage. I just haven't exactly figured out how to make that work. I've done a lot of collages, and in fact, right now I'm up to almost 80. If you're interested in checking them out, they're at Instagram. It's hashtag #TheOpenComic. And like I said, I have about 70 pieces on there. Love for you guys to check them out. Give me some feedback. I haven't done a collage in a little while because we've been working on other projects, specifically the RC truck. I can show it to you guys. The only thing left is the clear coat. So I think I showed this to you guys like yesterday maybe. But, here is our Chester Cheetah RC truck with graphics on the roof. Nope, sorry, wrong. He doesn't have anything on that end. Frito-Lay and Chester Cheetah on the back. Over here, we got the Cheesy Rider logo, which was actually one of their ad campaign from the 1970s. Maybe even the 80s, I don't know. There we go, Cheesy Rider, a little Chester Cheetah riding a chopper. Kind of a fun thing to do, but that has taken me a long time. I think I've been working on it now for probably 2 months, but not all at once, basically work on that for a couple of days, switch to something else for a couple of days. If you've checked out any of these videos, or even if you looked at the list of videos down here, you would see that there's multiple sessions with a given project, and then we just switch to a different one. We don't necessarily finish. So then we can go on to the next project. Just one sec, you guys. All right, there we go. Cool. So that's the deal. So today we're going to go back to collage, and we're going to work on a Mr. Miracle, like I was saying. If we have time, we'll probably start, let me grab it for you to show you. Probably start working on The Max by Sam Keith, another absolutely brilliant artist. The spiel that goes along with the open comic is, I don't want my comics sitting in a white box in the side of the room. I also don't want my comics in a white box in a plastic bag with a backer, or, God forbid, sealed forever by CDC. Ridiculous. I get it. People collect comics for money. I don't. And lately I've been feeling like the comics I don't get to look at almost don't exist. Like these comics are like in a box, in a bin, like somewhere. And I'm not getting to be a part of it. I'm not getting to see anything. I forget about it, And then I look around at the collages that I have done. Let me see if my other camera's up and running yet. turn that one off. Nope. But I've done quite a few collages, and when I look at those, then you're channeling the book. You're channeling the artwork, that made you like it. I mean, the reason I got into comics wasn't the adventure aspects of it, or even the reading of it. I got into comics for the art, for drawing. I'm sorry about that. Pushing my stuff out of the way. And so all I really want to see is the artwork. One of the best examples is I was reading a BPRD book, which is Mike Mignola's Hellboy universe, one of his team books related to that. And there was a battle between a were-jaguar, which I'm sure I said wrong, and a Wendigo. This was an unbelievable multi-page battle that was brilliant. Guy Davis had drawn it, and I'm a huge fan, and he just did an amazing job. And it had heart, violence, drama. It was totally brilliant comic scene. That's one of the things about comics that's so cool, is how cinematic they are. And you could almost see the the storyboarding in comics, almost more so than a lot of movies. So, drama. All right, well, we're going to get started on this thing. The first thing we got to do is we got to talk about what we're going to work on, and then we'll get into, how we're going to do it, right? So the first thing is this here. This is a Blick artist panel. It's a 9x12. Artist panels are really cool. It's a masonite box, or in this particular case, I think that it's a, I don't know what kind of wood it is. Let's see, it says MDF, right? So it's an MDF box. This is like a masonite, and then they bake ceramic and gesso onto it. And it makes it like a completely perfect work surface. When I started out doing these collages, I was using canvas, and because I had a lot of it around, and because it's inexpensive, and if you're not painting on it, then you can get away with a lot, but it actually is really not great for collage, because collage is a lot of pushing down. In fact, let me show you the tool we would use, or we will use, once we get all our stuff cut. This is a brayer, right? And so you got to be rolling that thing out, you know what I mean? And if you're rolling on canvas, it's just going to bend, and bent magazine and stuff is not good. Oh, look, it's Maul. Say hi, Maul. What's up, my girl? What do you need?
Tape.
Tape, cool. How goes the project?
Good.
Maul's making what is it, a stress toy or something?
No. It's squishy.
A squishy, cool.
Which I told you, but anyways.
I forgot.
I forget what I did then.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, that was it. Bye-bye.
See? That's my Molly. She stops by. Huh?
There it is. I got it.
Cool. Anyway, what are we doing? Oh, yeah. So we're talking about this artist board. So, that's a lot of what it bends, so that messes up the way your collage functions, loosens the paper, lets it wrinkle, totally all the way around messes it up. So that is not cool. And I don't want that to be going on. So I wanted to try something else. So I tried just some boards, illustration board, just masonite, and many of those were somewhat successful. But one of the things to keep in mind is paint loves paint more than it likes anything else, right? So I didn't sand my wood enough, so the paint didn't stick well enough, and that base coat's really important. I didn't really understand prepping surfaces as well as I should have. So I decided to get someone else to prep the surface for me, which is Blick. They do a fantastic job, and these pieces, this artwork is going to work great because it does exactly what I need it to do, which is to be a hard surface and be receptive to gel medium, which is what we're going to use. I used to use Mod Podge for a long time, and if anybody out there is looking for something to use, Mod Podge is absolutely awesome. Works great. The only complaint I have, and it's fairly subtle, is that you don't get as much wiggle time out of Mod Podge as you do out of gel medium. And gel medium is acrylic paint without pigment, so it's paint, so everything wants to stick to it as far as additional elements after you finish gluing the work. If you want to add that kind of stuff, which I sometimes do, paint markers and stuff, and you want it to make sure that it's going to stick. Of course, the raw paper a lot of times is pretty receptive to paint, but in this particular case, I find that gel medium works a little better than Mod Podge, because I like to be able to skate things around a little bit. You also might have a second to pull it off, and if you pull Mod Podge off, you damage your paper pretty quickly. Yeah, so anyway, first thing we're going to do is we're going to prepare, somewhere between those two words. We're going to set up this piece of artist board. We're just going to black the whole thing out. What I use to do that is a carbon black golden acrylic, and I put a dauber tip on it. I've always hated gessoing things. This is pre-gessoed, but we're still basically like painting it a solid color, and I'm just not a fan. So this thing makes it just a little bit funner, like it's more of like a graffiti project, you know what I mean? And of course I'm going to glue over this entire surface, so brush strokes don't really matter, And this paint is not super expensive. When I bought this bottle, I figured I'd buy a refill. So I have, what is it? This one is like, 4 ounces? I think I have like a 20, a big refill bottle. I don't think that was more than $25, which is really good. It's really good. Now it is exceptionally easy to make a mess doing this. But I don't really care. I don't mind it being really dark or wet or whatever. I wear gloves just for this part of the project because the rest of our project today is going to be pretty clean. So we're just prepping the top here. We're going to black all the sides too. One of the important parts of this is that you don't stand it up on the side, because then the front will really run a lot. Because, like I said, we have a bunch of paint on top here. I'm a real big fan of how this artist board looks when it's all black. I think they may make black ones, but I don't think I've ever seen one. They should. Maybe I'll start making gesso black boards. Wait a minute, I'd have to do all the work, the first gessoing too. But though I guess you could probably mix acrylic with your gesso, right? Like we were just saying with white. I mean, why couldn't you do that with black? Pretty much the same. Okay, got one side to go. Alright, after you do that, you can see that there's a bunch of ripply kind of things going on here. Oh, this is a 2-inch red line brush, which is a very nice brush for this particular job. I mostly use a 2-inch Liquitex brush. they made some really interesting brushes in the last couple of years. I like their, paint and ink and stuff, but these brushes are something else. It's part of the Kinetics line, I think, which had already made a bunch of alternative brushes, like ones that don't have handles and stuff. Really, really cool stuff. I super dug that stuff. Hey, look at that. That is definitely the first time I've ever needed something in hand. At least a little bit. Let's see how this goes. Alright. Keep that brush standing in some water. Alright. So now we just take this extremely wet board. I always try to get it by the bottom as much as possible. And we put it out. Looks like I might have touched a corner somewhere along. Gotta hit this corner one more time before we let it sit. Alright. Oh, we'll probably just screwed up that corner too. Well, no, hopefully not. Of course, once it dries, nothing saying you can't hit it 15 more times. I don't ever really do 2 coats or anything because, I don't know, I'm collaging over it. So what do you need it for? Does it maybe stick better? Yeah, maybe. But once I glue everything down, I then put actually Mod Podge over the top. Mod Podge yellows over time, but I kind of want that with the artwork, which means it subtly turns more into comics, or it continues down that comic road. You know what I mean? Which is like the life of the comic. That's one of the things that really got me into this project, was this idea of the life of the comic. A lot of my particular comics got damaged, and I was really upset about that. And then I got them out and I started looking at them, and I realized, as I was saying earlier, that I hadn't even thought of some of the artwork in these books in 20 years and longer. And I thought that was a huge loss, because every one I pulled out blew my brain, just blew my mind, and my own work, looking at this stuff and thinking about the way I draw. It's like this stuff was totally influential on me. Or even my art creation, there's guys who did alternative media in comics, and that stuff, that was totally my stuff growing up. When I was a kid, I started, one of my first jobs was working in a comic shop, which gave me an opportunity to see a lot of the books coming out during the 80s, like Swamp Thing and Miracle Man and all the Todd McFarlane stuff and Watchmen. And I was extremely lucky to be right at the middle of that stuff when it was happening. And then I worked at the first place I worked is Same Bat Channel Comics, which was on Main Street in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. And then the Great Expectations, which was also in Fitchburg. And I had a really fantastic time at both of those places. I briefly worked at a comic distribution location called Diamond Comics that was in Boston. I had a great time there too, still working in the comics industry. Didn't work out for me. Comics didn't, mostly because I just don't draw fast enough. You have to really be able to draw fast. I just mentioned that Jack Kirby was drawing 5 books at once. That literally is 150 pages a month. So do the math, and in 30 days, how many pages do you have to do? You know what I mean? And he's drawing and inking a lot of his pages. This particular one, Joe Sinnott is doing it, which is funny because I've met Joe, and he's a tremendously cool guy. I don't know if he's still around, because when I saw him, he was an extremely elderly dude. But he was very nice, and his work is brilliant. He has a great personality to his lines, and an ability to ink without taking away from the master's pencils, which is Jack Kirby's pencils. They call him Jack King Kirby. The reason for that is because he's the king. He had basically invented the entire DC universe. He had penciled the first Spidey comic, but couldn't finish it because of his commitment to several other books that were coming out at that time, so Steve Ditko took over. But he's the one who drew the first Hulk issue, the first X-Men issue, first Fantastic Four issue. You know, he invented like, and then over on DC invented a huge number of characters over there too. And in fact, this comic today is from the Second World, which was an entire line of characters that that Jack invented. Brilliant stuff. Anybody interested at all in any of this stuff, go out and go to the library and get the Art of Jack Kirby, or Google it, because there's a couple good videos about him. It's really, really brilliant. So anyway, that's Jack Kirby. And a little bit of me, I guess. So let's go ahead and get into the book and see what kind of trouble, what kind of stuff we can kind of come up with. All right. All right, so first thing we got to do anytime you're doing a new collage is you got to throw away your old X-Acto blade. Oh, over here. Yep, I bought these by the hundreds because every time I do a project, I try to start a new one. You really want a super sharp blade, at least to start, because blades come and go, And if you do a lot of work related to X-Actos, which in the collages, which for a while was all I was doing for artwork, I wanted to try to do 40 in a year, and I did. And then my second year, I've only gotten up to 35. 36 with this one. And I think it was July, so I still have a little bit of time before I have to have another 14 or something like that. All right, so now that we got our surface black, we don't need our paint sitting out. The brayer we're not going to need yet. All right, so I'm going to show you how I do this stuff. Actually, this tool over here that I just got a new tool. Kind of a cool one. This is a dental tool. And one of the things I really like about it is if you look at it, I don't know if you guys can see. Let me get in a little bit. All right. So if you look at it, right, the ends are not symmetrical. See, one is one way and the other is kind of just a little bit off. It's very, very odd. I think it might be damaged. I'm not sure. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get into this book and open it up and take it apart and see what kind of stuff we can find. I'm not going to lie to you. I flipped through this book and I didn't get a great vibe from it. But I have a personal rule, which is you don't turn down any book, no matter what it is. Right now I'm about, maybe 6-7 books back on ones I want to do collages with. So whatever you pull out, you have to do it. It's the Dada collaging technique. If there is such a thing, you know what I mean? All right. Seems like my camera's moving a little. Let's try this. All right. Sorry, guys. Get this back a little. All right. Whoa. We don't want that happening. Sorry about this, guys. All right. Let's try that again. Oh, just crooked now. All right. There we go. Yeah, maybe too much. All right. So here's what we're going to do. When I start one of these pieces, the first thing I do is disassemble the comic, and try to show a little bit of respect while I'm doing that. So we start in the middle. Whoa, sorry about that. I think I'm gonna put these over here. All right. So we start in the middle at the staples. This dental tool makes it real easy to grab the stencils and turn them out. You want to, I try to be pretty careful with this part because you can damage other pages. And at this stage, I'm not really sure exactly what I'm going to need. Sometimes, you have your big images, but you need to fill in background information and parts of the comic you didn't think you were going to use, you will. So there's really no sort of trash in taking the book apart. These are 1973 staples, so you got to be real careful with them. If you get poked, probably get tetanus or something. Be zombified, you know. In comics, you'd turn into a zombie. In the real world, probably not. All right, so another thing that's not relevant really is that you just take them out and you stack them up, because I'm kind of keeping the pages in the order they're in, just in case what you decide to do is linear, so you can at least take a look at how the how the artist and the writer laid out the story. All right. It's pretty cool if you notice. I don't know if you guys noticed, right? But the last 3 pages, 1 page of artwork, 1 page of text. If you flip it over, same page is this would be an ad, or this is a letters column, but it could easily be an ad. Same side, right? Modern comics either don't have ads at all, which is awesome that they don't have to clog up our experience with ads, but they also don't have 1 page clearly laid out. So when you cut them apart, you're going to lose something, right? So we decide we're going to use this shot of Miracle Man right here, and we would lose whatever was there. So, hey, what do you need? All right. Cool. Back up a little more. I always love when you get to the, your last page that you're sorting through, that you get something, like this. Nothing better than that first splash page. And nobody does it better than Jack Kirby. Like, he's the guy, man. He's the guy. Cool. All right, so now that we got all of our stuff laid out, now we got the cover. Now, the problem with the cover is it's dramatically different finish. At the end of our work, everything will get a matte, a coat of matte Mod Podge, like I said, but the shininess of this makes it stand out really hard against the newspaper, newsprint quality of the pages themselves. I always keep it because I might want to use the logo. The logo being different is okay, because you'd want it to stand out against the rest of the artwork, This comic wants to give me trouble. Just want to get a good fold on it and trim it so that we can use it. So once you get a good double crease in there, it isn't too bad to tear up the crease. All right. Now this back thing, this is junk. Right? Now this is an extremely funny Charles Atlas ad that I've been literally seeing since I was 4 years old, or even younger maybe. And then we have our cover. Back, ad, junk, Daisy air rifles. Here, pretty good Mr. Miracle, super escape artist, some information there. This shot is pretty dramatic. You guys see that? He's tied to a torpedo headed towards a mine. Nothing if not creative, right? Sadly, we use exactly the same drawing, just not as good, on the first page. Right? So here we have him once again being shot in the torpedo. So you notice this thing where we got this ad. So that's really good, because we definitely don't need the ad. Although sometimes I've done work with ads, because, man, there was some fun stuff back in the day. I mean, look at this right here. This is Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote hot rod models. I don't know. Seems cool to me. The day Bill told off his boss. You never know. These things could show up. You could want them. I kind of blew the trim on this one, but as long as none of the artwork was damaged, we're okay. So we take this next one. Same deal. And carefully tear it down the middle. Usually I can get away with that pretty good. Do it for a while. get a little bit better at it. Now here's the same deal again. This is the letters page, self-contained. Miracle Talk, real, you know, real creative, and I love the logo, of which there isn't one. All right. Here we got some good amount of pages of artwork here. This is the exception. There we go. This shot right here of Mr. Miracle shaking hands with this general is repeated again in the book. I guess they stay standing there. Sometimes I keep Jack's his credit, edited, written, and drawn by Jack Kirby. This one's Mike Royer was the inker. So you see here we got Mr. Miracle in exactly the same pose. I find that to show a lack of creativity. He says to Jack Kirby is totally ridiculous and out of control. All right, so in this shot we got a little bit of action, a little scuffling. All right, here we got Mr. Miracle jumping on this guy. I'm saying he's the world's fastest moving target, and that's kind of fun. Over here we don't have anything as good as this shot right here that I just showed you guys, right? This shot right here, maybe we can get a little closer. Trying to show you guys some stuff, so there we go. So this shot right here is the most dramatic shot on the whole page, you know. So I like that, you know. Other side is just dialogue stuff. Yeah, right. Next one, couple just ads, right? Push this up a little. You know, just ads. But man, they don't have a lot of ads now that look like this one. First, the artwork is pretty questionable. But this is all smash up derbies, man. Like that stuff is awesome, and nobody's really doing it anymore. You know, like, I mean, maybe there is. You know, my kids haven't been into smash up derbies, so I don't know if there's more toys out there like that. All right. So add, here's artwork. So we'll save that. Kind of a funny drawing of that sailor running away or falling or something. All right, here's an alien, couple shots of Mr. Miracle. I don't love the way Mr. Miracle's face is drawn here. Just kind of, I don't know, must have been quick. Excuse me. All right, now we got some action panels happening. Let's see if we got just the one. Yep. All right, more funny ads like. I fell for this as a kid. You sell grit, which is like a newspaper. No one bought. So you wind up doing things like throwing them in the river. Then you get in trouble for littering. This is my childhood in a nutshell. So these are a whole bunch of like patches from back in the day. 1973 patches. Some great stuff on here. Be fun to reproduce a couple of these just to have them. You know, nothing here is too non-existent anymore. I'd like to do this Felix one right here or the Popeye one. Mostly, oh, look at this gas mask one. Gas mask is a good one. That's the one I should do. One side of artwork, so pretty simple. This is a great scene right here because this is Big Barda and some of the other. Pretty sure they're called the Inhumans, but I can't actually remember. Maybe not. You know, maybe they're just characters from Second World. But Big Barda is a pretty famous Kirby character. She's totally awesome. Like, really, really tough lady. You know, Kirby was kind of famous for doing some awesome sexual equality and racial equality efforts. Jack is the first, he invented Black Panther, and bringing him in as a lead character, I think, and Falcon maybe, or maybe he invented Falcon. But he's a really brilliant guy when it comes to putting that racial equality stuff and sexual equality stuff in there. Big Barda was really incredibly tough, and easily the Superman or the Hulk character in their team. There hadn't been any ladies doing that. It was really awesome. So this shot here of Big Barda and stuff is pretty cool. This character here is pretty weird. I think we might be able to do something with him. So the other half of that is this battle between Mr. Miracle and this weird head guy. Whole deal, this battle. Now this is something that kind of messes with us, right? Because there's battle on this side and battle on this side. So if we pick this one, which is a pretty good scene, we're going to lose that one, which is also a pretty good scene. Same. So that one's going to be inconvenient. So next page. In the event, it makes sense to do the fight because it seems to be all that's going on in this comic. The rest is people standing around having a conversation. Well, actually, it's not true. They would just throw in the sailors around. That was pretty funny. So here we got some dialogue, although we do have a shot right here. His name is Scott Free, and he's Mr. Miracle. But him on the phone seems like an odd thing. This character is Stampa. He's like a super powerful stamp. Doesn't seem to be a whole lot to use on there. Other half, we got this great impact scene here with Mr. Miracle getting knocked out or something. Also got a shot here of this larger character. This side not too much, just this one shot of the bad guy. Will you still be able to use that? No. That's going to be that piece. So this is our last piece to separate up. Great Shazam ad right here. I don't know if this is for the comic or the TV show, but the TV show was really killer. When I was a kid, it was my favorite thing. It was Shazam on a short with Shazam and then a short with Isis. Another example of late 70s, early 80s effort to include women in the superhero world. All right, these are just ads like this weird fantasy. Weird mystery. Excuse me. Weird mystery. Pretty cool. Over here we got coin collecting. Not so cool. Gonna basically throw all this stuff away because I don't think I needed it all. This is an Aurora ad, which is for models. Kind of cool. When I was a kid, the Aurora models were everything I needed. All right, so our last page, we got a rescue here from Big Barda, rescuing Scott. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to zoom out a little because this part is a little bit bigger. We've got our surface is still drying over here. So there's a couple of things that obviously we want to use. And we just talked about this. All right, this looks good. This we need to keep. I don't use text. I always cut away the text. In this particular in this particular moment, I'm not going to take the time to cut the text away. For a while, I was taking all of the text and wrapping the edge of the boards in it. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. But I got a little bored of it, I guess. And I've been moving away from using these larger artist boards because I've been creating the artwork on illustration board, and I have a guy who's making custom frames. I met him on Etsy. He's an awesome guy, and he's really been helping me out. And it's changed the presentation of my work, and I love it. You know, I really love the way his frames look. I have to paint them black, but that's my only complaint. If you're on here, Todd, thanks for making those, buddy. So anyway, back to the work. So we got out that big action scene. Over here is just dialogue stuff. So we said, how about we grab this piece here that has our that has this weird bad guy. Must be the bad guy. Is the only other person in a costume. These old comics were a little on the predictable side. What's funny is when I was growing up, I was not a Kirby fan because everyone was. And when everybody likes something, personally, I tend to not like it. Because it's too, you know, popular something. You know, I don't even know. But I know that if it's the most popular thing, I'm not interested in it. A great example is when I was a kid growing up, everyone was reading the huge Stephen King books, which are unbelievably good, as everyone knows. I refused to read them because everybody in my class was carrying around a tome. And I was just like, you know, I don't care. I'm not going to do it. I missed out. I didn't start reading Stephen King stuff until I was old. Really like in college, which was dumb. All right, we don't have anything on this side. And this side's a character that I don't think we're going to include. I'm not going to include Big Barda, Stompa, or any of the other characters that are in here with Scott. I do think it's possible to use this frame where he's on the phone, this panel. Alright, everything else on here is junk. The only reason I'm not throwing these away, the extra pieces, is sometimes you need to fill something in, and it looks much better if it's the same type of paper. Because if it is not the same type of paper, it really stands out. You know, like you can't grab a piece of printer paper. All right. Now stuff like these tiny pieces, like, you know, I don't so much use those. All right, so here we got some awesome dramatic action. Now here's a I'm coming for you while you're down kind of moment compared to this one, which is I'm coming for you right now. I think we'll go with this one. Just happen to have this metal ruler sitting here, which just make it a little bit easier. Definitely don't care about perfectly straight lines at all. In fact, almost all of these comics are gonna, you know, be cut up more after I'm done with this. Go. Now sometimes it's a pain to get the text out because this is Mr. Miracle's head right here, and I could have used it. Alright, some of these pieces out of here. Okay, a little bit closer, you know. Wish we could do more, but not much else I can do. All right, we got a good crashing through the wall moment here, and it's Big Barda, but you don't necessarily need to know that. Just a crash. What do we get over here? Same deal. It's a good violent moment. I do like to keep effect noises, you know, for example, crash. Another good crash. Anything else here we could use? Well, possible we might use that shot of Barna down the road a sec. All right, here we got some more good fight scenes. Let's see what looks better. Definitely use this panel right here with his knives coming out. Very reminiscent of Wolverine there. Oh, Jack. At 5 books a month, there's got to be a little overlap in your creative output. Okay. All right. Now we got this shot here. We're going to have to pull the rest of the words off. Take a look here. Pretty a lot of drama in here. What's better? Kind of like this one. Got a lot of Mr. Miracle in it. Okay. Nice good action scene there. Oh, this was a pretty successful page since we got stuff off both pages. This shot right here. What's better? This shot right here, which is pretty cool, or this one where he's running at him, because we can't do both. I think we're going to take this shot of this guy anyway. If we lose that background image, what have we really lost? Not a whole heck of a lot. actually saves enough Mr. Miracle and make it easy enough to still use that piece. Got that great shot of the ladies. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to use that. It's too, there's not enough information to explain who they are without using text. You know what I mean? So, it is still a great drawing though. And I've always loved that character, Big Barda. Sorry about that, guys. Little on the crooked side. This is funny because you don't often see a bad guy talking on the phone. And we got that other shot of Scott talking on the phone. So we can say that he called him up and challenged him at the baseball field after school. To our next page, we got that big dramatic wham, and then back here is just our 70s stickers, being patches. Oh, here comes trouble.
Where's the notebook that I used to make the things?
The what?
The squishies worded up.
The one I brought in and gave you?
That's the one? No, the white one with the things on it.
Oh yeah, that's back up here. Hold on one sec, you guys. Okay.
Just give me like 3 pieces of paper. So y'all need just 3 pieces of paper.
Just take 3 pieces of paper.
Okay.
Don't make a mess though. We don't take all of it because they fall out easy. All right, back to work here. So, like we were saying, these shots here, I don't think they're any good, or we don't need them. So we're gonna use the big wham.
See ya.
Yeah. Right, text off there. Sometimes nothing you can do about some white. I go back sometimes and I fill it in, cut it out. That is like, this area on the top of the wham, this white through here. I think of this as cut pass number 1. First we take the comic apart, try to come up with an idea. Then we trim breaking the comic up into pieces. First we break it up. Then we come up with an idea. Then we start trimming out the panels that we want to use. And cut them generally. And then move on to actual laying out the collage and deciding how much or how little you need to cut off a given image or a given panel to make it work, This is a real good fight page. Going to be able to use a lot of this, I think. It's funny, sometimes I have so much more artwork than I can use. Other times I just can't get enough artwork. You know, like it's I've run out of pieces and the material is not covered. If there was a rule to collaging, it's you can't see the surface you're working on anymore. You know what I mean? Like you've covered it. These rules that I've created apply only to me. So they don't have to make sense. Because most of my stuff doesn't exactly make sense. I'm just, giving it a shot. Don't be concerned, that's just my children screaming. Okay. Another attack shot. Just gotta shift this camera over a little bit. Like it's not getting where I usually work, which is kind of on the edge of the table. Oh, that looks better. Okay. One more piece from that page. Some of the pages are really successful, and other ones we don't get anything. So we got this shot of him kind of advancing on Mr. Miracle. All right. This shot here is pretty cool. He looks really concerned. You know, like he's, who's this guy? He's kind of big. All right, on to our next page. This page has the alien inside. I don't know if we'll use that, but there is this shot of him pulling his head off, which is definitely worth using. Probably won't need that, but if you got a picture of your lead character and you're not using it, or you don't think you'll need it, might as well save it. All right, so here we have some additional action and just adds on the back. So that's cool. What do we use? Okay. Same as the other character, the Little Miracle Man. I don't know if I can use this one, but maybe. Maybe I'll try to keep some of the ship here. All right. Here comes trouble.
Pun is here.
Cool.
He's here.
Cool.
I just smell like brownie.
I don't know.
Chicken
I don't have,
wings.
anybody, how's it going? I don't have any brownies.
Chicken. I have a brownie. We've got no more. We ate them yesterday.
Thanks for stopping by.
Brownie! Okay, I'll get you some brownies.
All right.
Come on, son.
Hold on, you guys.
Where's the... Okay, well, I'm just going to do a giant red dot then, Macklin. Macklin, I'm going to do a giant red dot. Is that okay? Okay, I'm doing a giant red dot. See you, Max. What? I'm going to put a giant red dot.
Please make sure all the covers are on those markers. 2 have covers off right now.
I will.
Don't forget. Sorry, you guys. Sometimes you got to run out. Kids always need something. You know what I'm talking about. Let's get back into it. We got just a couple more pages, and then we can start laying out. All right. Here we got a couple more sort of action shots. It's nothing on this side.
Not a good idea. Right idea.
So we'll take the action shots like this one. There we go. What?
Dad, I didn't break it. It was already broken.
Then how will you tell us and put it back in?
Okay.
It was already broken.
Okay. Hey guys, sorry about that. Again, kids, you know how it is. All right, so we got this sort of action shot right here. Looks pretty good. It's got the dead alien in it, which is pretty funny. Well, dead things aren't funny. But he's a bad guy, you know what I mean? Not cut the alien out, just in case I might be able to use him. All right, looks like we got this action shot there, all set to go. All right, the rest of this, there is a little bit more action in here, but you know, we'll save it for later just in case. All right, we have kind of a good amount of stuff right now, so kind of doing okay. All right, so here is the shot of him shaking hands, looking like Elvis and Nixon. I don't care so much about the fact that these guys are reporters as much as it's a crowd of people running away. It'd be fun to try to use the crowd ahead of our bad guy. You know, they're all running away to get away from the impending bad guy. And like I don't know if you guys heard me, but earlier I said you got the same drawing twice, like the drawing on the front cover and the splash page. This drawing right here is him shaking hands with the general, and this drawing right here is him shaking hands with the general. How long is he holding on to that guy's hand for? There's an assumption in comics that every panel represents the passage of time. So if he's in two panels, he must be at least a few minutes apart. Though I suppose there's nothing saying it couldn't be seconds, you know, so that you're still holding the guy's hand. No reason that couldn't be true. Okay, another one. Looks like we have about 2 pages left. All right, I do want to use this large panel here of him driving this car. What you need, Ma?
Nothing. Just coming to say hi.
Hello. Too bad that pillow got broken.
No, I don't care. It's not mine.
Still should care, it's your brother.
Mm-hmm. How did you cut the thing in half?
What thing? Watch it, dude.
Okay.
Razor. That's just part of the collage process. You know, you take everything apart.
Mm-hmm. After the live stream, can we go on a family walk?
I have no idea.
With the hood?
I don't really want to go every day, but you should take Mom with you.
Oh, I don't know. Is this wet?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be in the other room.
Okay. Save that in case we can use it, though I don't see anything on it that screams out to use it. Maybe this explosion right here. But same thing I said, you know, I'm not throwing it away, I'm just putting it in the pile there. Now this shot right here is amazing. Except for being the same as on the cover. Got a little bit of it. Okay. Explosion, like I said, I don't think we need that. This is a great drawing right here of him strapped to the torpedo underwater. And they think he's not going to make it, but of course, Mr. Miracle always makes it because he's the world's greatest escape artist. So like I said, we want to keep this cover just in case there's some element that we want to use in the collage process. So now we take all of our offcuts, which is no shortage of offcuts. right. Now there's nothing. All right, looks like our board, maybe not 100% dry, but dry enough to mess around with. All right. So the next thing that we want to do, so I got to zoom back out a little. All right, is we start laying out all of the images, right? Because we want to be able to look at everything at once and try to get an idea, you know, of how we can make them work together. This is also kind of the daughter collage network, you know, like method, is all we're really doing is stream of consciousness, trying to figure out a way to put everything wherever we want to put everything. All right. This part always reminds me a little bit of sorting socks. The next part is probably my favorite part, which is the figuring out how one piece could work with another one out of the context of how I found it. Though, to be honest with you, lately I've been feeling like I have to change more in the collages because I'm so interested in seeing the artwork that I'm not cutting enough of it away. You know, and you need to cut a lot away. I was thinking it would be funny to have this guy hand him the phone, this big robot. We'd have to go and trim out over there, but he has the phone. All right, a lot more explosions and stuff. I feel like the camera's still too far over here. Yikes. There we go. A little bit more. All right, let's try that. All right, we got about half of this stuff laid out. Some more explosions and stuff. We got this extremely tiny shot of him kind of walking through the stones. These are definitely not where they're going to go. I'm running out of space. So all right, for this part, we don't want to use the X-Acto anymore because of how easy it would be to accidentally cut a piece or scratch our black undercoating. So you want to use something else. This is a vinyl puller, which is basically a dowel with a tack in it. It's sort of a long tack, I guess, but a tack. All right, now believe it or not, we have pretty much all of the artwork we trimmed out is now laid out here in front of us. All right, so now the task is figuring out a way to make it all work. Also slide another cutting board over here in case we want to do any editing. I like the fact that he calls them. You know what I mean? Like he calls them on the phone. And I don't know, let's say challenges him to a fight. Right? So then he jumps in the car. I often use a tool here called a paper spatula. And that's because it's hard for me to pick up paper sometimes. All right, so gets in his car and he drives over there. I thought there was another shot of him walking to the car. Did I miss that one? Just jump through these pages real quick and see if I just didn't have it or I forgot to cut it. Definitely too far. Well, maybe not. Yep, looks like I forgot to cut it out because there it is. All right. Just trim this thing out real quick over here on the side. Okay. Now we have him driving off to go see Scott. Then what? Some of our running away characters. Yeah. Problem is, if I move this over here and I put this character's running, it's gonna look like the characters are running before. Which is one of the things about panel work, you know. You got to be careful you're not misrepresenting the movement. All right, then maybe we. Always hard to figure out how to deal with something like this, but I think that we'll be able to figure it out. We got folks running away. Oh, I like that. That might be cool. We'll use this sailor. Just trim him out real quick. Okay. Oops, damn. Okay. Alright, so we got all these guys running. We throw this guy in. He's running too. We can push this down a little because we have a little coverage that we can use. Two will go. Gonna have to trim that guy a little bit more too. And we got this characters, these guys being thrown. You know, that's kind of good. But maybe we should have the explosion first. Boom. Thinking it might be funny to flip these guys upside down and have the guy throw them. At this rate, we're never going to have enough room for the whole fight, so we might have to do some hardcore editing. Know what I mean? Okay. We trim this one back a little, just take out a little of the carnage. Just a little piece. Okay. Okay. A little bit of stuff doesn't seem to be making as much sense as I was hoping it would. We got the battle going on. Got this one, but man, that one is way too big. Hold on just one sec, you guys. Try to keep the door closed, guys. All right, it's looking good. I don't know about this big wham thing. Whoa, moving stuff. Don't cough or anything because it's extremely easy to move everything. Know what I mean? Now with funny little Mr. Miracle just kind of looking. Remember? Did we use it? Let's see it. A lot of times like I cough or breathe and you lose pieces. Whatever piece I need, that'll be the one I lose. That is a guarantee. Oops, don't lose those. Thinking about wearing a thimble when I am making collages because I am forever poking myself in the fingers. Let's see what happens if we take this piece off. So see, here's an example of basically running out of pieces. You know, like we're getting in good shape down here, but we are definitely not done. And we're kind of out of pieces. Another one of the magical parts of collaging in this way is if you breathe wrong or cough or anything like that, you're losing everything. You know what I mean? Hmm. Can't remember where I had that. I do know we need this. Okay. Got to get rid of this text. real big shots of this guy coming out with his blades here. Go in here for a sec. Looking for that little picture of the alien. There we go. See, that's the risk of moving things around with the X-Acto. Super easy to pierce them. damage them in some way. Okay. Now it gets a little touchy. Here we're digging through pieces that are already laid out to trim. And sometimes when you trim them, you screw up their coverage because of course we need these, we need to tell the story, but we also need to cover the paper. Remember I was telling you guys the cardinal rule of the collage artist is that you have to cover the surface. Very important. What I'm doing here is I'm just going to open up this word POW a little so that we can see the other stuff through it. Let's take a look at that one. Yeah, that looks better. Right now, I'm just looking for something to put behind Scott's head while he's on the phone. Something a little bit dramatic, but nothing that's going to stand out really. I think this one's going to be way too big. Well, hey guys, we're just about out of time now. Things have been going pretty good. I feel like we have like pretty close to our design. Oops, other way. All right, get in a little bit closer. Sorry about my fingers in front of the camera. It's really hard to operate the camera on my devices without having your hand in front of it. Anyway, this is... Whoop. Come on. That's where we got to today. We're definitely running low on pieces, but I think that it looks really good, and I'm excited about it. So I will be continuing to work on it tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. I'm on Facebook. So come on down and check it out. We'll be here 3 to 5. Tomorrow it's on the Greenhouse Graphics Facebook page. And we'll probably be able to, maybe at least get it all stuck down or maybe even wrap it up. So that'd be cool to do something that was like a 2-program piece. Anyway, give me a chance to come by and do some artwork together,